Hi everyone, my name is Christian and I want to introduce you to Casey Neistat. Casey has his own YouTube site, he's a YouTube star and he uploads semi-professional YouTube videos. What's special about Casey is that he has nearly 6 million subscribers on his YouTube page. This makes him a YouTube influencer. Recently, Casey flew from Dubai to New York using Emirates, and upon realizing which guests they have on board, Emirates upgraded him to first class, hoping that he mentions them in one of their videos. Casey liked the experience so much that he not only mentioned Emirates, he made a whole video about his experience. And the video went viral. More than 26 million people watched his video about his Emirates experience. That's a phenomenal ROI for Emirates, which basically only had to pay the upgrade. And this happens around the world for companies, big and small, for services and products, everywhere that influencers are buying product. And companies can create these influencer moments and make sure that influencers post about them by improving the experience these influencers have. And this is where UserGems comes in. We identify the most influential customers among a company's user base and make sure they talk about your product. How we do this? Based on the customer's email address, we identify their social media channels. We identify the Twitter account, Instagram, YouTube, but also LinkedIn and AngelList. And this gives the company a full social identity about each user. You see who they are based on professional information and how influential they are based on the number of followers on different social channels. And knowing more about your users gives a lot of interesting use cases. We are focusing on 3 here. First one is hotels. Hotels can provide free upgrades to the influencers, make sure they have the best possible experience so that they talk about this experience on their channels. But they can also figure out who are actually the guests and focus on the ones that are important, like politicians, travel agency employees, and so on. As seen with Casey, the same applies to airlines, where they can provide free upgrades for the influencers and make sure they talk about them. And every single online store is interested about their users, and we help them identify influencers and micro-influencers among their own users. And they can be used for authentic marketing campaigns with their own users. And that's interesting because 5 to 8% of a customer base are influencers or micro-influencers. And their marketing potential is currently wasted. Influencer marketing is totally on the rise. And companies are spending more and more money on it. In 2018, $1.1 billion are used for external influencer marketing campaigns. We are making sure companies can make internal influencer marketing campaigns. But just focusing on the verticals that we are working with, hotel chains, airlines, and online stores, there's a huge revenue potential for us. For the top hotel chains, there are 10 million rooms. Each room, we charge 50 cents per month, and this alone is 60 million per year. Airlines, 3.6 billion bookings. They want to know more about their users. That's a lot of potential revenue for us. And even just focusing on the top 10,000 online stores, there's a lot of money for us to make based on providing them information about their users. Currently, it's basically not done or done manually. So the only competition here is other companies that are focusing more on a B2B channel. We're the first focusing on B2C. The management team doesn't only look identical, we are identical co-founders, we are identical twins. I worked in Google, at Microsoft before, my brother worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and so we cover both technology and business. And we both went through Y Combinator. We are profitable and making 5-digit revenue at the moment. Thank you very much, and thanks for helping us turning customers into advocates.
So you win on the twin team. That's a first that I've seen. So you described a relatively small addressable market. So question number 1 is, are you going after markets beyond this? And also, there's a natural saturation point in what you're doing.
Yeah.
How are you going to compete with that?
So what I mentioned was actually the revenue we can make, which basically is often, this is for us, if you make $100 million a year, you're a $1 billion company. This is what we're going after. And each of these individual channels that we're going after has the potential to be a $1 billion market for us.
We call that TAM, total addressable market.
No, so for me, it's not a total addressable market. It's more the value of the company. If you have $100 million a year, you have $1 billion value.
Not usually, but okay. But the saturation question is more important.
Yeah, so there are a lot of opportunities. Like if we are saturated on the 3 use cases, there are a lot more opportunities. We also want to help companies hire their own users, for example. Like if I know someone is an engineer, I can hire them much better. I have a competitive advantage over the Googles of the world by knowing they already love my product. So there are a lot of potential additional use cases that I can do once I have data about my customers. So these are just the use cases we're going after now because we're seeing the strongest demand there.
Awesome, and that is the time. Thank you, UserGems.
Thank you.